A good name is so much better than having big riches.
Truett never lost sight of what was important. He never stopped learning. You've got to reinvent yourself all the way through.
At 91 years old, he was really having fun, but he was thinking way outside the box to the point that, you know, why Truett, why a luau?
There were times Truett couldn't get out of his truck when he'd come to the dwarf house. He was tired. And I'd go out to the truck and I'd go like, well, Truett, how are you? I said, well, I'm thinking. I'm just thinking. And I'm just so tired of thinking. He was always thinking.
Phone rings, and Truett goes, what'd you do about that deal down in Fayetteville? I said, what deal? He said, you know, that retail center. I said, well, Truett, I didn't do anything with it because you said you weren't interested. He said, well, I've changed my mind. I'm interested. And so then he put a team together and empowered them to go out and to come up with a concept.
He realized he needed some specialists around him and, you know, to really kind of understand his vision and then, you know, launch that vision and develop it.
If you bring in good people and you put them around you, then they're just going to kind of do their thing, and it's going to make the business as a whole successful.
And he allowed us to do that, and it was a lot of fun.
He actually saw this Polynesian type taste, like that's where customers were going to, and he was talking about it way sooner than any other competitor or QSR that I saw, and he actually did it in his own unique way.
He was really intrigued with this Hawaiian concept, right? And he loved how much fun it was. He would have a detailed idea about how he wanted that made, and so we would take that and we'd make it for him, and then he'd taste it, and sometimes he'd go, I don't like that at all. And, you know, but he would just fire off these ideas, and I think that's kind of just where some of that started. And, you know, we had the opportunity to kind of walk with him through that journey and make suggestions.
And he would talk about the different items he wanted and how he wanted to, you know, take care of all the guests. He wanted to be an experience that would be beyond anything that they would ever dream, and that people would want to come there for birthday parties. And he wanted them to come there to celebrate.
He really trusted us with just these vague ideas to create what that restaurant is. You know, it was flowers and colors that he liked and descriptions of plates or food, and then he just trusted us to create everything all the way out.
So then we would come back and report with him the next week and say, how are we doing? Are we going the right direction? And so there was a lot of communication.
He just had an expectation that we were going to do our best, and that everyone else in the room knew more about the different areas of the business than even he did.
That's what was so great about Truett. Like he was so inclusive in his ideas. He really loved bringing people together and having fun doing it. And he didn't have to be right. He always said, what do you think? And he really wanted to know. Like, and if you didn't really tell him what you thought, he could see through that pretty easily. So you learn pretty quickly. Tell him the truth. Tell it to him the right way, and he's going to listen and he's going to learn from it, and he's going to continue to include you in his projects.
There was a time when people would not agree with why Truett was doing this project, and but over time, I think people started understanding why it was important for Truett to do it.
You get to work on the final project of one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. And so even when you hit the roadblocks, even when you hit the challenges, to think about the privilege and everything that's been entrusted to you at that moment, it kind of helped to recenter you in a time that could be very stressful. So,
and just how much that meant to him to do it right, and what an honor it was to be a part of that dream.
You know, we've been trained, right, to be a faithful steward of the things that have been entrusted to us. So we're stewards. But Truett, didn't want to spare any expense for the experience that somebody may have. And he made sure that it was going to be above and beyond and over the top.
Truett had the idea that he wanted a rickshaw. I asked a question that everybody else was thinking, which is like, Truett, why would we do a rickshaw at this Truett's Luau? And he looked at me and he said, David, because it'll be fun and everybody will love it.
The waterfall is very iconic. To this day, people do know where it is. They give directions off of the waterfall.
It's a bright light in the community around it. You know, I think it's a safe place for families to come and families to gather and celebrate. You walk into this space and you instantly think you're at the Polynesian. It's just inspiring. It takes you to Hawaii. It takes you to a different world. And that's what Truett wanted to do with everything they did. He wanted to inspire people to something bigger than they are.
It's a loved restaurant right there in that community.
There's still so many more people that could be coming and experiencing kind of this vacation atmosphere in Fayetteville. They can be coming and bringing their families. And so it's really our job to continue to tell people about it, to continue to bring folks to the restaurant, and to just kind of continue to get the word out. That's just kind of a testament to people coming, experiencing, enjoying it, and wanting to come back and bring other people.
And I think that's what the Luau represents for Truett and his legacy, even in Fayette County. It's kind of this monument in some ways to his thinking beyond himself, and saying, how can I impact others?
And Truett wanted great experiences. I think he cared more about his name than he did about profit.
He managed his home like that. He managed his company like that. They were his principles, and he hoped that it would rub off on the rest of the people in his company.